All right, welcome. My name is Heather Miller Rubens, and I'm the Executive Director and Roman Catholic Scholar at the Institute for Islamic, Christian, and Jewish Studies. We are so glad that you're able to join us tonight for an interreligious listening session in partnership with the Catholic Synod, and we're just delighted to have everyone here. So I'm just going to quickly go over our agenda for tonight and then provide just a little bit of background information on the Synod process that's currently underway in the Roman Catholic Church, and then invite you to participate in this process via small group discussion and listening sessions. It's a packed hour, so we want to get started. An agenda. What are we doing? So tonight I'm going to provide you with a brief overview of the Synod process overall, sort of a big global picture, as well as what we are hoping to accomplish here tonight in our ICJS Synod listening session. I'm thrilled that ICJS trustee, Bishop Dennis Madden, is with us here tonight, and that he will share with us a little bit later on how the Synod process has been going so far here in the Archdiocese of Baltimore, Maryland. Then we're going to go into small groups for the actual listening sessions and then reconvene at the end to talk about next steps. So what is a synod? So synod is an ancient word in the tradition of the church whose meaning indicates the path along which the people of God are walking together. It also refers to the Lord Jesus and to the fact that Christians, his followers, were originally called followers of the way. So Pope Francis has called the global church to conduct an extensive intentional listening tour on the parish level and beyond to get sort of direct feedback and to hear from people who make up the world that we live in. The 2-year process began in October of 2021, and this spring, right now, there are active listening sessions happening around the world. And participating in this event tonight, you are participating in a global conversation. The aim of the Synod is to discern how we are journeying together, and specifically how the kind of Catholic Church can grow as a listening church. This is sort of a continuing in the process that was begun during the Second Vatican Council, when you had non-Catholic observers participating in the sacred gathering of Catholic leaders. So the bigger question, who can participate in the Synod? In short, everyone. Pope Francis and Archbishop Lori here in Baltimore have asked all to participate in this opportunity to consider how we are journeying together as people of faith, people of goodwill. So if you're Catholic, welcome. If you're not Catholic, welcome. If you're here in Maryland, welcome. And if you're from somewhere else in the world, welcome. We are just so thrilled to have you here. So if the Synod is not just for Catholics, but it's a Catholic process, where do folks who are committed to interfaith dialogue and community building fit in? I'm trained as a historian and I love reading text, so I've provided you with a long quote on your screen that comes from the Vaticum. The Vaticum is the guidebook that was provided by the Vatican for the synodal process. In this document, part 6 in particular lifts up the work of organizations like ICJS and lets us know that we too belong in the Synod process. Indeed, that's why we're here tonight, to specifically think with you, Catholics, those who identify with other faith traditions, and those who don't identify religiously at all, about the place and the possibility of interreligious dialogue in society. So the ICJS, for those who may not be familiar with us, is located in Baltimore, Maryland. We're an independent academic nonprofit that seeks to advance interreligious dialogue and understanding through educational lectures and programs for the public, through intensive fellowships for congregational leaders, civic leaders, teachers, seminarians, and clergy, and through rigorous scholarship. At the ICJS, we try to reach a diverse cross-section in the Baltimore, Washington area in our efforts to dismantle anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and other forms of prejudice. Bishop Dennis Madden is an ICJS trustee. I mentioned this earlier, and we are so honored that to have him here with us tonight in this session. And he has been intimately involved in the synodal process thus far. And so I wanted to welcome Bishop Madden and to ask him to briefly share how this process has been going in this diocese and in the church.
Thanks so very much, Heather, and good evening, everyone. Things are going very, very well, and we found that we're learning a lot, and it's been a great experience across the Archdiocese, in the schools, in the parishes and different communities. Pope Francis, he invited the world to dream together about how we might accompany each other on our journey into transformation. His words were that a synodal church travels together. In a recent Pew study, about 83% of the people said that they believe in God. 77% that religion is very, very important. And yet, in so many of our churches, synagogues, mosques, we're experiencing a decline in numbers. And Bishop Robert Barron just had a meeting with about 3,500 church leaders to deal with the question of how is it that 82% of parishioners are really not all that engaged? So Pope Francis, he asked Catholics around the world to come together and express from their perspective just how is this church traveling together in living together and announcing the gospel? How is it going? What are the personal experiences in the parishes, in the diocese? What joys do you experience? What obstacles? What difficulties? What points should be stressed and confirmed? What things need to be changed? What steps should be taken to do that? And with all of this, our Holy Father, Pope Francis, said we must not be alone with this. We must listen to our brothers and sisters who are not members of our particular church and see what they have to say, and also learn from them pretty much the same kind of thing. What has been their experience in dealing with the Catholic churches in their area? So here we are tonight together, and it's so good to have you here. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Bishop Madden. All right, so the logistics for tonight and going forward. Again, ICJS is honored to create some space in the Synod process for folks who want to reflect on the place of interreligious dialogue in the world. We're going to go into 45 minutes of listening sessions in small group Zoom breakout rooms. There are going to be ICJS staff and facilitators in the room to keep the conversation going, be aware of time, and also to take notes. So we're going to invite you when you go into the small rooms to share your first name, how you identify religiously at the beginning of the session, and also where you're located, if you're in Maryland or if you're elsewhere. In the final report that we're going to prepare, all personally identifying information will be omitted, so you don't need to worry about that. So in addition to tonight's listening session, we're inviting all registered participants to also contribute to this report online via written submissions during the next 2 weeks. So for folks who may wake up at 3 a.m. and think, oh my gosh, I really wanted to say that and I did not, you have a chance to do so, right? And then there's also folks who may have registered for tonight and could not attend. You can participate in either parts, tonight's session and the written part, or both parts of this process. The outcomes, we're going to draft a listening session report highlighting common themes and experiences, and share that with the Archdiocese, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, Synod staff, and then this report will eventually also make its way to the Vatican. And ICJS, we're also going to put the final report on our website for public viewing as well, and we'll keep you in the loop when that happens. So the focus for our Synod conversation tonight is on interreligious dialogue. And I want to just preview the questions with you briefly. These will also be in the chat, and your facilitators have them as well. So we're offering reflections on 4 big areas. Yourself, how has your personal experience with interreligious dialogue or engagement helped you to understand yourself? The world, how can interreligious dialogue address global concerns and challenges? Is there a place for our mutual cooperation and understanding to work to building a better planet? The divine, the sacred, God, how has interreligious encounters affected your experience of spirituality? And then finally, interacting with others. If you've experienced interreligious dialogue at ICJS or elsewhere, how has that influenced your interactions with others beyond the scope of a particular interreligious event? Has an interreligious encounter shaped your other encounters with other folks? So those are the 4 big buckets that we're going to talk about tonight: self, world, the divine, and human interactions. So I want to go over some group guidelines and then send you off into your small groups. So at ICJS, we value everyone's voices, so please speak up and allow space for others to do so. We want you to speak from your own experiences and not to try to tell someone else's story. And we want you to remember that we all come from different identities and backgrounds and experiences, so please expect a difference of perspective and respect others' rights to have opinions and views that differ from your own. And then finally, we want to promote an open and honest exchange. And so we want you to respect the confidentiality within the small groups. Identifying stories should stay, but lessons can leave. So the recorded part of tonight's program is going to conclude now. You will not be recorded when you're in the small group rooms. And I believe if Christine gives me the thumbs up, I think that we are ready to go to small groups for about 45 minutes.